Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Whisper of the Soul channel. The twin flame journey is one of the most profound, intense, and transformative experiences anyone can undergo. It's a spiritual awakening that challenges every aspect of who you are, pushing you to your limits and calling you to become the best version of yourself. Along the way, both the divine feminine and divine masculine will face their own unique challenges. But there's a belief that the path can sometimes feel harder for the divine masculine. But why is that? The divine masculine typically navigates the world with their mind. Logic, reason, and structure are their natural tools. They rely on these qualities to create stability, set goals, and make decisions. However, when they encounter their twin flame, something profound happens that shifts their whole reality. Their mind, the one thing they've always trusted, becomes unsettled, and the world they've carefully built begins to crumble. But what does this really mean? Why does it feel like their mind is taken away? And what purpose does it serve in their spiritual growth? Let's dive deeper into this and break it down together. Sign 1. The loss of logical control. For many divine masculines, life is all about order. They are the planners, the doers, the thinkers. From a young age, they've been taught to think logically, to approach every situation with reason and precision, to always stay in control. Their sense of security comes from the structure they've created in their minds, and they build their life on the foundation of their rational thinking. However, when they meet their twin flame, everything they know is shaken to its core. The emotional connection they feel is so intense, so undeniable, that it completely defies logic. They find themselves asking questions that don't have easy answers. Why is this connection so strong? Why can't I just let go, even though it doesn't make sense? Why do I feel so out of control emotionally? This sudden loss of control is unsettling, and it can feel like their mind, the very thing that has always given them security, is being taken away. Many divine masculines experience panic or confusion at this stage. They may try to find ways to fit this experience into their structured worldview, but deep down, they know something larger is at play. They are being called to let go of their need for logic and embrace the unknown. This loss of logical control is an important step because it forces the divine masculine to surrender to something larger than themselves, something that can't be understood with the mind alone. It's a call to trust in the journey, even when it doesn't make sense. And although it's uncomfortable, it's the first step in their spiritual awakening. Sign 2. The ego death and identity crisis. The twin flame journey also involves a profound ego death for the divine masculine. The ego is the part of us that defines who we are, based on our achievements, role in society, and how we view ourselves in relation to others. It's the lens through which the divine masculine has seen the world up until now. And for most of them, it's what has kept them grounded. When the divine masculine meets their twin flame, the ego begins to unravel. All the things they thought they knew about themselves, who they are, where they're going, and what they want, begin to break apart. This can be a jarring experience because they are no longer able to rely on their old identity to navigate life. The person they thought they were seems to dissolve before their eyes. This leads to a crisis of identity. They may feel lost, confused, and overwhelmed. Who am I if I'm not the logical, structured person I once was? What happens when everything I thought was true is suddenly questioned? This is when many divine masculines go into what is known as the running stage, where they try to distract themselves with old habits or turn to relationships that are more predictable. They may attempt to resist the changes, to hold on to the version of themselves they knew before. But no matter how much they try to resist, the transformation is inevitable. The ego death is necessary because it clears the path for the divine masculine to step into their higher self. They cannot continue to live according to their old ways of thinking, especially when they are being called to grow beyond what they've always known. And although this process feels like a loss, it is ultimately a rebirth. Sign 3. The awakening of the heart over the mind. For many divine masculines, life has been about thinking and doing. Emotions are often pushed to the side, seen as distractions or weaknesses. From an early age, they are taught to value logic above all else, with the belief that emotions are something to control, not something to embrace. But the twin flame journey forces the divine masculine to confront their heart in a way they never have before. This is one of the most difficult aspects of the journey because it requires them to step away from their mind, what they know and what feels safe, and into the realm of emotion, intuition, and vulnerability. For the first time, they must truly feel everything they've been suppressing, their fears, their pain, their deep insecurities. The challenge here is that the divine masculine is not used to navigating life from their heart. The heart feels chaotic, unpredictable, and intense. It asks them to face their wounds and to be vulnerable. This can feel excruciating, but it's also the key to their transformation. The moment they stop fighting this process and allow themselves to experience the fullness of their emotions, they start to step into their true power. This awakening of the heart marks a turning point. It is a moment when the divine masculine can no longer ignore the deeper, more authentic parts of themselves. They begin to understand that true strength doesn't lie in control and suppression. It lies in embracing their emotions and learning to trust their heart. Sign 4. The breakdown before the breakthrough. At some point, every divine masculine experiences a breakdown. This could manifest as a dark night of the soul, a period where they feel emotionally drained, spiritually disconnected, and utterly overwhelmed. They may lose interest in the things that once brought them joy, and they may even struggle to find meaning in life. At this point, they are experiencing what feels like a collapse of their old self. This breakdown is not a sign of failure, though. It is part of the process of transformation. Many divine masculines resist this stage, as it can feel like they are spiraling out of control. However, this breakdown is necessary for them to let go of the old version of themselves, the one that is stuck in fear, control, and logic. Only when they release that old self can they rise to a higher level of consciousness. During this phase, they may experience intense emotions, vivid dreams, and synchronicities that shake their sense of reality. It's the universe's way of awakening them from their slumber. The breakthrough comes when they finally let go of their resistance. The moment they surrender to the process, they begin to feel a shift. They start to realize that this breakdown was never meant to destroy them. It was meant to help them rebuild themselves into someone more aligned with their soul's purpose. Sign 5. The rebuilding of the divine masculine. The twin flame journey is not about tearing the divine masculine down. It's about rebuilding them into their highest version. After the breakdown, something amazing happens. The divine masculine starts to see the world through new eyes. Their mind begins to integrate with their heart, allowing them to think with both logic and intuition. This is when the true divine masculine emerges, not as someone who suppresses emotions to appear strong, but as someone who embodies both their intellect and their heart in perfect balance. They trust their feelings, embrace their vulnerability, and allow their intuition to guide them. Their transformation is about evolving into a more whole and authentic version of themselves. The divine masculine begins to embrace their connection with their twin flame with confidence, understanding that this is part of their divine path. They no longer resist the emotional connection, but instead welcome it as the key to their spiritual growth. In doing so, they become stronger, not by controlling their emotions, but by integrating their mind and heart as one. Sign 6. The fear of surrendering to the unknown. Surrender is one of the hardest lessons for the divine masculine to learn. They spent their lives believing that success comes from control, action, and making decisions. The idea of surrendering, of letting go the need to control everything, feels like a threat to their very identity. But the twin flame journey teaches them that surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the need to force things to happen and trusting in divine timing. This can be an incredibly difficult process for the divine masculine, as their mind is wired to find solutions, to fix problems, and to create plans. But no matter how hard they try, they cannot control the twin flame connection in the same way they've approached other areas of their life. The more they resist, the more frustrated they become. However, when they finally allow themselves to surrender, they find peace. Surrender means releasing fear and stepping into divine flow. It means trusting that everything is unfolding as it should, and that the universe has a plan far greater than anything they could have imagined. Once they let go and trust, they experience a sense of calm that was previously elusive. Sign 7. The deep desire for stability versus the chaos of transformation. The divine masculine craves stability. They want predictability, a clear plan, and a sense of control over their life. But the twin flame journey offers anything but stability. The moment they meet their twin flame, their world turns upside down. Their emotions become more intense, and nothing feels familiar anymore. The old ways of coping don't work, and they may feel like they're losing everything that once gave them comfort. This is one of the most painful aspects of the journey because it feels like they are losing their grounding. The chaos is overwhelming, and they may try to return to old routines or relationships to feel some sense of stability. But the more they try to resist the change, the more it persists. The truth is, this chaos is not meant to destroy them. It is meant to awaken them. The transformation that the divine masculine is going through is leading them to something greater, but they must release the old version of themselves to fully embrace it. When they finally stop resisting and allow themselves to transform, they begin to see the clarity hidden within the chaos. They realize that the chaos was never meant to hurt them. It was meant to help them evolve. Sign 8. The internal war between love and fear. Perhaps the most significant internal struggle the divine masculine faces is the battle between love and fear. They feel an overwhelming love for their twin flame, a connection so pure and magnetic that it feels like nothing they've ever experienced before. But this love also terrifies them. It requires them to open up, to be vulnerable, and to expose their deepest self to another person, something they've never fully done before. Fear tells them that this love is too much, that they're not ready, that they might get hurt, or that they could lose themselves in it. Love, on the other hand, tells them that this is their path, that they are meant for this connection, and that they are safe to open their heart. The divine masculine often struggles between these two opposing forces, taking steps forward, only to retreat back into fear. They might express love one moment and then pull away the next, but eventually they come to a realization: fear is just an illusion. It is only when they choose love, fully and completely, that they begin to align with their higher purpose. Sign 9. The ultimate lesson. The mind was never taken away, it was upgraded. Finally, the most important realization: the divine masculine never truly loses their mind on this journey. It may feel that way because their old way of thinking is no longer enough to guide them. The rigid, control-driven mindset that once served them is being transformed into something much greater: higher awareness, divine wisdom, and emotional intelligence. The mind of the divine masculine is evolving from a place of fear-based thinking to one that embraces spiritual growth and inner knowing. The journey isn't about taking away their mind. It's about upgrading it, allowing them to embody both wisdom and intuition in perfect balance. This transformation is what allows the divine masculine to embody their true essence. They become stronger not because they suppress their emotions, but because they learn to integrate their mind and heart. They are no longer just thinkers. They are wise, intuitive, and emotionally intelligent beings, ready to embrace their divine mission. Conclusion. The twin flame journey is undeniably challenging for the divine masculine. It forces them to let go of their old identity, release their need for control, and confront their deepest fears. But through this process, they emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with their true self. For the divine masculine, if you're watching this, know that you're not losing yourself. You're evolving into the most authentic, powerful version of who you are meant to be. For the divine feminine, have faith. Your divine masculine may take longer to awaken, but when they do, they will be more aligned, more confident, and more deeply connected than ever before. If this message resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on the twin flame journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.